there, I'm Vicki from Aussie Stampers. Welcome back to my channel. I have a whole series of sneak peeks for you from the Stampin' Up 2018-2019 annual catalogue. I have 4 cards in this first video series, and I've broken the video down into 2 parts because it was quite long. So this is the first part of the video showing you the first 2 cards that I've cased from the catalogue, and then the other 2 cards that I've cased from the catalogue will be in the second video. And then after that series, I'll be doing a whole lot of other cards that are in the catalogue as sneak peeks too. So it's just a week of sneak peeks. So I hope you enjoy seeing some of these new products ahead of time, and I'm so looking forward to being able to show you more. So let's get cracking. This is a big video because it is in 2 parts. I've created 4 projects which are sneak peeks from the new Stampin' Up annual catalogue. How exciting is that? Now I'm going to move them away and get started on the first 2 for you. And I've broken it down into 2 videos because it was getting to be quite long as one. So here's the stamp set close up, and it's called A Good Day. And the first image is this little ice cream cone here. And it says, a little treat for someone sweet. So that's going to be this first stamp that we use. And the first card, I have a piece of designer paper that I'm going to create the envelope with. And if you look on your envelope punch board, you'll see, if you look at the 3x3 card size, you'll see that you need the paper to be cut at 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And the score line is at 2 5/8. So the first thing I'm going to do is make our envelope from the 5 1/4 inch square piece of designer series paper. And this is in Tangerine Tango. And I'm going to score the first line at 2 5/8, which is right here. So I'm going to punch and score. I find it's easier to score backwards because then you can find where the score goes from and to. I start off at this end. It's a little bit awkward because I don't want to put my head in camera. I don't want to be seeing the top of my head. Now I'm going to line this score line up with this little piece here, which is this score line lined up. And it should line back up to 2 5/8 of an inch. So you can always double check. So we're back at 2 5/8 of an inch, which is right. I'm going to punch and score, and I'm going to do it in reverse. I'm going to send it back in from here and just line up at the end. And then rotate anti-clockwise again back to 2 5/8, and that should line up with your score line, and it does. So punch and score. I have a playlist of boxes and lots of boxes on those videos, so you can scroll back through and find my playlist, or just go to the top of the dashboard there on my channel and you should have the playlists for the boxes. Okay, so you're going to end up with something like this. And then we're going to fold it. So I'm just going to not even use my bone folder because it's designer paper. Sometimes if you use your bone folder on designer paper, it can tear. And I'm going to decide one of these is going to be the top. So I'm just going to pop that into the top end and round the corner. So there's a corner rounder on the other end of this. So that gives you a nice corner right there. So I'm just going to adhere it with some glue here. Just some Tombow multi-adhesive just on the edges there, on those 2 pieces. This is the quickest way I find to adhere these envelopes. And just fold it over, and there's your envelope lined up, ready to go. And that's all set for your little card to go inside. And it's going to have this little piece that's going to be on the card as well. This is a scrap, and I'm going to cut out a circle shape with that. Actually a scallop shape with that, so that's going to come on the card. The card base is crumb cake, a 3 inch by 6 inch piece that I've folded in half. So I've cut a 6 inch piece of crumb cake, folded it in half to create my card, and that's just going to fit beautifully inside the envelope. So to decorate that, now I'm going to add my stamping. So I've stamped out this image here, which was the ice cream cone. I stamped it out twice. I used Tuxedo Memento ink. The first time I had a little bit too much ink on the pad, so a second time it worked perfectly. And I'm going to punch that out with my 1 1/4 inch circle punch. Now in the catalogue, this is punched out with the scallop circle, but I'm changing it up a little bit just to make it my own, and I'm using what I have. So I'm using the 1 1/4 inch circle punch. So there's that sweet little image there. And now I'm going to layer it with a few other things too. I'm going to get some of this paper, so that it will match the envelope, and I'm going to layer this one up with the 1 3/4 inch scallop. Now this is the old-fashioned scallop punch. I keep all my punches. The new scallop has a much smaller scallop edge, so this is the one that's used in the catalogue, but this is going to give a very similar effect, and I don't have that punch that has the smaller edge, so you know, you can always improvise. So that's going to layer somewhat like this, and then I'm going to layer that scrap piece of vellum on with the same size scallop. Now I'm also going to bring in some linen thread, which works so beautifully with crumb cake, and I'm going to make a little bow. Cut a nice long piece, much longer than you think you're going to need, and then you trim it down. And you're just going to tie a bow. Now there are different ways of tying a bow. Some people do little rabbit's ears. I tend to do them this way. That's because the way I do my bows, that's how I learned how to do them. Pull it nice and tight, and then you can adjust the loops and the tails. And I like to attach bows and sequins with glue dots. So somebody in class has been using this. It's a little bit, hasn't been put back the correct way. It's okay, I'll just tear that off, we don't need that. So I have some glue dots ready. So these are the mini glue dots, and I'm going to adhere the bow with that when we get to that point. And I'm also going to use the bow to the glue dots to adhere the vellum. So I'm going to start with the vellum pretty much in the center, I think, and I'm going to adhere it so you're not going to see the glue dots. I'm going to put them on the bottom half only, and I'm going to adhere it about there, right in the middle. A little bit more bone folding on there. It's a little bit creased. There we go, better. Okay. So if you look, you can actually see where I have adhered the vellum. You can see the 2 dots. That's going to be covered up. So next I'm going to adhere this piece here, and I'm going to use my Tombow for that. It's just kind of offset and a bit lower. Okay, and with this I want to colour the ice cream, so I'm going to bring in my crumb cake marker and just colour in the ice cream cone. That's really cute, easy enough to do. And now I'm going to colour in the ice cream on the top, so this must be like a peach ice cream, I think, peach flavour. Or maybe it's gelato. And attach that with a single dimensional piece. They are really sweet, these cards. I was so thrilled that I could make you all 4 of these cards. I'm very excited to see all this. It's just lovely. And just to finish it off, I'm going to bring in the little bow under here. It's just going to sit kind of on the edge there, I think. Oh, I like that. I think that looks really sweet. I need to bring those loops in a little bit smaller because they're tiny little elements, but they're so cute. Okay, bring those loops in a little bit smaller, and I'm going to attach it with a glue dot, and I have a little trick for doing this. So I'll bring in my paper piercer, and I'm going to roll the glue dot. So you can see I'm rolling it onto my paper piercer. This is how I attach all my tiny little bits of twine. And then I'm going to pop that onto my card, slide it off with my finger, like that. Just hold it so it slides off. So you've got a rolled glue dot rather than a glue dot. Does that make sense? A rolled glue dot. And then I'm going to attach that right on the knot. And this provides 2 things. It stops the bow from coming unraveled because it's attached to the knot. See how easily I attach that? That's a great trick to learn with your glue dots. It's really, really good. Love it. And I'm just going to trim it. Trim the ends, of course. We don't want them that long. Oh, it's very cute. The designers do amazing work in the catalogue. We still have our little enamel dots to go. So I'm going to use 3 enamel dots, and I'm going to use my paper piercer to grab these. I'll just get the rest of that glue dot off there. Okay, and I'm just going to pop these onto the card. So I'm going to put one on the vellum and one just below the vellum, just down here. And then this one I'm going to put just about there. Oh, so cute, loving it. That is just adorable. Okay, so we have our little envelope and our card. How sweet is that? Card with a matching envelope. Just love it. That's our first card done. On to the next one. Okay, so I've made another envelope with the same size piece of paper, and this is with some blue designer paper, and this is going to go with a white card base, and I have a scrap of the pale blue here, which matches the cardstock, and I also have another piece of white, and I'm going to stamp out the little bird image this time. So the little bird is right here. This is the little image I'm going to stamp out. Again, I'm going to use the Tuxedo ink. Oh, so cute. Now I have my Whisper White scrap piece with a little bird stamped on. I have my Marina Mist piece with Hello Friends stamped on in Tuxedo Memento black ink. So I'm taking my 3" by 6" piece of Whisper White cardstock, folding it in half and giving it a good crease with my bone folder. Now you could score it at 3 inches and fold and score as well. I'm just using my bone folder for it. Okay, and this is the regular Whisper White cardstock, not the thick Whisper White. Now I want to create a background for this, so I'm going to use this image here, and this is what the designers have used in the catalogue. This little, can you see that? It's like a dotted line, and I'm thinking I might use a softer colour than the black. I think I might use basic grey, just so that it's a little lighter. I don't want it too intense. So I'll practice on my scrap first. Oh, that's really nice. And I do like the grey. I think the grey is quite nice. And what I'm going to do is just create a stamped background with some of the circles overlapping. And this is going to create just a nice background pattern. I really like it. It's good. So that looks like it's patterned paper. That's a really easy way to do it, and you can see I've protected my surface with that, so don't need that anymore. And because I've used the grey instead of the black, it's a little bit more subtle, so it's going to fade in as the background piece. But doesn't that look good? It's really fast, really simple. Like it? Okay, so what else have the designers planned? I'm looking at this picture beside me. I can't show you the inside of the catalogue because I'm not allowed to show you any of the images in there. So I have it near me. I'm referencing it, but I can't show you. But I can show you the finished product. I can show you something I have made from it. Okay, so my little birdie, I think he's dry now, so I'm ready to colour him. So I have this really dark Pacific Point, and I'm a little bit nervous about putting that straight on because I think you may not be able to see any of it. Okay, so I've decided I'm going to use my ink pad and my blender pens. I'm going to colour his little feet with my Daffodil Delight marker, and I'm also going to colour his little beak with the marker because that's easy enough to do with the fine tip. So they're coloured. That was simple. Now for the tricky bit. I'm going to just go in really gently. And I might test it a little bit here to see how dark it is on this side. Okay, that's good. I can still see the black lines. I was a little bit worried that I might lose the image because it would be too dark. And I'm not even going to go and pick up any more blue. I'm just going to spread that out over the body. See how that works really well when you use a blending pen? You don't need to go back and pick up any more of the ink. I might just take a little bit off the top there. So he's a two-tone bird and you can actually see him quite well. A little bit more on his tail. I want to do a darker piece on his tail, like a little stripe. And a little stripe on his wing, dark stripe. All right, I'm going to cut him out with the 1-inch circle punch. I'll show you close up. Blue ink all over my fingers, sorry about that. So you can still see, yeah, I think I'd like a little bit more. I might bring in my pencil. Just a little bit more outline around his head. Just with a little bit of watercolor pencil, that works really well. Yeah, that just gives him a bit more definition, a bit more shading, so he's not quite so pale. And I think the pencils probably work best rather than the blender pen and the ink pad. So yeah, I'd be saying maybe use the pencils if you have them. If you don't have them, the ink pad and blender pen is your next alternative. There we go. Oh, that's nice. I like that. So I've used my Stampin' Up watercolor pencil on him. Nice. And bring him up. Can you see him? Okay. Now this little piece here is going to attach onto here like this. This piece is 3/4 of an inch wide and I'm going to attach it about there, but I want to flag this end. And I'm going to use the triple banner punch for that. And I'm just going to mark with my pencil about roughly where I want the end of that flag to be. I want it to be about here somewhere. So that's going to be the point. So I'll pop that in the back. And I find if you pop it in this way, you can see where you're cutting when you're doing it with a smaller piece. So you want to line it up in the center and punch. And perfect. Perfect flag. Okay. Now I want to adhere this to the bottom third of the card, and I'm just going to use some Tombow Multi for that. Gosh, my desk is getting messy here, isn't it? Okay. I'm going to add some silver sequins. I've got 3 silver sequins to go on this as well in my little jar here so I won't lose them. And this goes on the lower third. Nice, I like that. And this is going to be popped up on a dimensional, but of course, give it that dimension. Now for my trick with the sequins, I just use glue dots and take the sequin straight to the glue dot and then lift it off and pop it on the card wherever I want it to go. And I find they keep a nice firm grip on it, so it's quite good. You might have to just move it so you can't see the glue dot underneath it. And I've got a really small sequin here. I'm going to do that roll technique where I roll it over the paper piercer so you can't see it at all. I'm going to put one there and bring in my piercing tool and just roll it so that it's a smaller piece on the back. So you can't see it, and just pull a little piece off. Okay, then this one's going to go here. Oh, this looks gorgeous, really cute. Very simple, very easy. So there's our next card done. Isn't that gorgeous? I like that a lot. So there's our next card. Okay, second card finished. So here are our 2 little darlings so far. These are the first 2 of the series of 4 cards. And I'll show you close up what they look like. Aren't they just gorgeous? This is the first one, a little treat for someone sweet. The second one, hello friend, with those sparkly sequins on it. Now I'm going to call intermission, so go grab yourself a cup of coffee, cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever it is that you like to have while you're watching these videos. Come back to see the 3rd and 4th cards in the next video.